And hello, race fans, and welcome back to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for our third race of the WRLA Xfinity Series. My goodness gracious. I don't even know where to begin, because we had ourselves a fantastic truck race this past Thursday. And you know, unfortunately, we had to postpone the rest of our weekend here for WRLA festivities here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Some personal issues ended up popping up behind the scenes, and those were just a little bit more important to deal with. But we're getting ready to go to resume racing from here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It is race 3 of the season, the Boyd Gaming 300 from here at Vegas. This is, honestly, if I may say, we've seen a lot of great racing here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We had the WRLA McDonald's Cup Series here just 2 years ago, and the racing that we saw there was actually was pretty interesting, to say the least. It was a different package that those Cup cars were running. Val Mosco went on to win that race, but last year, when WRLA made its return with the NOS Energy Cup Series, we saw a lot of close, tight pack racing, if you will, sort of reminiscent to what we saw maybe with Minnesota, but these cars are going to be packed up just a little bit tighter than what we saw this past weekend at the Minnesota Motorsports Park. And we probably are going to see the same thing here with these Xfinity Series cars. It should be a very, very interesting one from here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway here for the third race of the season for the WRLA Xfinity Series. I know I'm kind of repeating myself over and over again. It has been a bit, so just bear with me. If you missed the action from 2 weeks ago, speaking of Minnesota Motorsports Park, then you would have missed an absolute banger of a race. Caution free, it was caution free, but the action was absolutely amazing. We saw battles all over the racetrack, all over the pack, but at the end of it all, it came down to John Boyd, Erica Douglas, and Joshua Neely, and Neely sent it in through turns 3 and 4 to complete a last lap pass and steal the victory away from Erica Douglas, who went on to finish second in that event. Erica Douglas, for the most part, has been on a roll here for Jordan Anderson Racing. We're going to take a look at your point standings coming into this event. You can see the deficit. It is an 11-point gap between herself and new runner-up John Boyd. And there's Joshua Neely, who was the first regular winner of the Xfinity Series for 2026. He's third in points with 62 points in his pocket. Then 1 point back, that is Ray Atikian, who arguably probably had the best car of that particular weekend. He is fourth in the standings with 61 in the bank. Dana Mon is fifth with 60. Marion Judicia is in the sixth position with 54 points. Sarah Taylor, Josiah Munsell, both with 50 points apiece. Obviously, Sarah Taylor breaking that tie due to Google Sheet Physics. Alexander Rowe, who raced here last year in the Cup Series, so might have a little bit of an advantage here coming into this one. He's ninth with 47 points to his name, and Ryan Kendall completes your top 10 in the point standings with 41 in the bank. Here's a look at the rest of your points coming into this race here from here at Vegas, and definitely pretty interesting start to the season, that is. Excuse me. Unfortunately, Eric Blaze, who is starting on the front row here for this event, unfortunately didn't even make it past lap 1 at Daytona. I was actually running really, really well at Minnesota just 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately just a very questionable pit stop was obviously the difference maker for this. It was the difference maker, you know, in how the rest of the day kind of played out for him. I am so sorry. I'm just brain farting left and right. But Russell Blaze, I'm not 100% sure he'd be too happy with the performance of Eric Blaze. I mean, but one thing that he knows for sure is that it is early on and that he is learning these Xfinity cars. Unfortunately, 6 points to his name. Our pole sitter Austin Kane with 2 points in the bank. And then Ajax Fitzgerald, yet another driver who has just not had a great start to his season, especially for Death Rider Racing. And at least a good portion of the team, unfortunately, is not really running all that well. I mean, to start off the year, but nonetheless, it is still very, very early. So we could see any of those Death Rider Racing cars like Fitzgerald or even Steve Morgan. Hell, even Eric Blaze could make a comeback after 2 very awful races. And here's a look at your starting lineup coming in. Qualifying, of course, was done behind the scenes. And on top of that, I don't even know what I was going to say. But on top of that, you know, that the same went for the part-timers. Austin Kane, Eric Blaze, they both line up on the front row. They're going to lead us down to the green flag. Celeste Lace and Kenny Stremme. That is your second row. Harukan Koiloglu and Jordan Sumner, who wound up getting a top 10 finish a couple weeks ago. She completes row number 3. Then Carter Belair, Brock Nelson, row 4. Sarah Taylor, Ryan Kendall. That is your top 10. And then it's Haley Curris, Nick Martin, Steve Morgan, Will Parrish, Justin Ingleham. Our winner from just 2 weeks ago on the 20th of February. That being Joshua Neely, Alexander Rowe, Marion Judicia, John Boyd, runner-up in the standings, Reagan DeFeo. There's Ajax Fitzgerald. There's Ray Atikian, Kasumi Takashi, Josiah Munsell, Reagan Whitlock, Igor Barreto, Marcus Sachi, Derek Hamill, Sebastian Kukulon, and then there's Caleb Rose, who's now going to be driving the 43 for the rest of the year, obviously, with the confirmation that Avery Alford jumped ship over to Trinity River Racing in the number 23. So Rose will be driving this car for the rest of the season and try to make as many races as he can. Bobby McGuire making his WRLA Xfinity Series debut. Going to use this race as some seat time to get ready for tomorrow night's race from here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the NOS Energy Cup Series. And then we have Dana Mon, Thomas Jericho, points leader Erica Douglas starting in the 34th position. So she'll have a good amount of work cut out for her. And then we have Sam Robinson, Bryce Egan, Campbell Marsh, Noah Cars, and then our provisional starters, our winner from Daytona last month, Ryan Davis, and Roberto Crown Jr. That is your official starting lineup for tonight's race from here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We did have Slifer in the booth with us a little bit ago, but chances are, I mean, he had something to take care of last minute. But we'll definitely see him in the booth a little bit later on. Oh my. Oh my. That's not good. That's not good. That definitely is not good. Why don't we go ahead? Actually, let me see if I can restart the game, because that's definitely not cool. That definitely is not cool with what just happened there. Do apologize for the technical issues here, ladies and gentlemen. I would believe that the game itself, unfortunately, the frames kind of dropped pretty significantly. And we're gonna, all right. Looks like we're 100% good to go here, ladies and gentlemen. All we had to do is just restart the game. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a fantastic, a little bit of a hiatus, but we're back to racing to try to pick up where we left off here for the WRLA weekend here at Vegas. Drivers are strapped into their cars. Previous ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 40 cars on the racetrack, Hold up. Let's just pause here for a second because that was random. Came out of complete thin air. Absolutely, completely came out of thin air. Is Russell Blaze. I don't even know what to say, man. But you're finally here. Finally here, just as we were getting ready to get the cars rolling. So pretty interesting timing to say the least here. But Russell, I know you were here just a little bit ago, but then you had to take care of something at the last minute. But what's going on, man? How we doing?
Surviving.
Well, this
had to do a little talking to some of the guys, you know, especially Fitzgerald, you know, just to get their head back in the right space, get them on the right track.
Well, I mean, definitely could be something that they'll need here coming into this weekend. But you've actually raced here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, you know, of course, with the Cup Series last year. And with the package that the Cup cars are running, it's more than likely going to be very, very similar to what these cars are going to have. So as far as the package is concerned. So with that said, how do you think these drivers are going to have to tackle 81 laps, sort of racing like they're at Atlanta or even what we saw a couple weeks ago in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's just try to. It's easier to talk about it from inside a car than a booth. But no, just do the best that you can and just stay away from the wall.
Well, absolutely, for sure.
It's never a good place up there by the wall.
Absolutely. I could agree more. I couldn't agree any more on that. 3 wide here, especially at Vegas, is definitely something that these drivers are definitely not going to want to see whatsoever. So if you've watched NR Racing from Las Vegas, you definitely know 3 abreast just does not work, especially coming off of turn number 4. That's always been a huge trouble spot coming into, especially what we saw last year and maybe even in previous races for WRLA and even for other series. Turn 4 is never really a good place to come out of 3 wide. It's just everybody kind of just gets a little bit squeezed together, and the rest is pretty much history.
Unless you got those sticker tires.
Absolutely. But nonetheless, this guy thought that we had a truck race last night. Little did we know that that was this past Thursday. But here we are. We're getting ready to continue the weekend, at least the Vegas festivities. So with that said, drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 40 behemoths rolling on the track, let's go trackside to get the command to fire the engines. And there it is. Engines are fired. Pace car is rolling off, and so are these 40 competitors. You know, last Thursday's truck race was caution-free. Everybody went all 67 laps without any sort of incident. Wayne Lopez managed to win it in dominating fashion by 0.8 of a second over the runner-up of Bruno Diacomo. But Russell, things are going to be a little bit different here. We have 6 additional vehicles on the racetrack. And I got to ask, you watching the same guys that you were watching a couple weeks ago in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew the answer there.
Interesting, obviously the past 2 races, he didn't fare out so well, but starting up front, I think he might have a good chance tonight.
He very, very well could. As the field works their way off of turn number 4, a duo of Chevrolets of Austin Kane and Eric Blaze. They're going to lead the field down to get race number 3 of the WRLA Xfinity Series underway. The Boyd Gaming 300 is green.
The question is when are they going to attempt the 3 wide? And well, open mouth, insert foot.
And already 3 wide here. Eric Blaze already being shuffled up into the 3rd line of Celeste Lace. Wasting no time at all. Working his way down to the inside to take over the top position. And now Kenny Stremme now finds himself in a similar position. Possibly. Actually, no, he will come in going into turn at number 1. That's Carter Belair in the 51. Down on the inside, there's Harukan Koiloglu, whom unfortunately was not having himself a great night at all at Minnesota just 2 weeks ago, but he went from dead last just 2 weeks ago to now he's leading the thing from here at Vegas. He'll lead that over the 51 of Belair. They're 3 wide here. Stremme still stuck in his 3 wide situation. Eric Blaze almost flirting with joining him in the middle.
I mean, it almost seems like the middle might be the preferred spot if you're going to go 3 wide. Because as you can see, the 16's holding their own.
I'd say the only other issue that if you're somebody that's holding on to that 3 wide situation from the middle side, the only other issue is for some of these drivers, they're not really going anywhere. They're all pretty much just tightened up in this little pack, as closer together than where you parked your car over at the latest concert that you just went over to last night. But nonetheless, Stremme kind of finding himself in between a rock and a hard place, as is the 53 of Ingleham, even the 24 of Sarah Taylor. Now Steve Morgan finds himself at the front of that 3 wide situation. Haley Curris in the 44, rocking some new colors here for this weekend, jumps up to the front here at Vegas. Morgan down low. This is going to be the fight for the top position. Justin Ingleham sort of flirting with making it 3 wide going into turn number 3. He's going to think twice of it. Knows that it's pretty early in the event to make moves like that. As he'll tuck in behind the 7 of Morgan. There's Alexander Rowe. He raced here in the Cup Series last year when he was driving for American Motorsports. Of course, Russell, as you know, that team went on to win the championship with Kyle Craven, and you know Craven very, very well. But of course, Alexander Rowe, another driver who raced with Kyle Craven last year over at American Motorsports. So far, holding his own here today in this Xfinity race here at Vegas. Already up to 2nd, now challenging for the race lead, 3 wide. Morgan's going to back out of that one. So now it gets back down to double file between Ingleham and Rowe as they head into the 3rd corner.
It's like we always know in racing, it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
I couldn't agree more there. And just another thing to add on top of that is that all throughout this event, we're going to, if it keeps playing out like this, then we're going to see a lot of these drivers that started at the back. They're going to move their way up to the front. The drivers at the front, they're going to get shuffled to the back. So this field will be flip-flopping all day long.
Yep.
But of course, pit stops are on the horizon. I wouldn't say immediately, but definitely has to be probably somewhere right around lap 30. So definitely want to watch for that here as this race progresses on. If we stay green the rest of the way, Alexander Rowe now clear of all traffic. John Boyd picking up right where he left off. He finished second, or actually no, finished third, top 5 regardless. A couple weeks ago in Minnesota, now moving up into the second position. You got Ajax Fitzgerald in the 88, now third. Fourth is Josiah Munsell. Then it's 4 cars single file until you get back here to Reagan Whitlock, who also raced here last year at the Cup level. Working her way down to the inside of Justin Ingleham, and up front, challenge for the lead is on. Here comes John Boyd to the inside of Alexander Rowe. Going to lead that lap as we begin lap 12.
Looks like that pep talk is, granted early in the race, the pep talk looks like it's working a little.
Definitely feeling a little bit of motivation there as Ajax Fitzgerald here in this 88 as he moves up into the second position now. Fitzgerald comes into this race with only 2 points, along with one other driver that we just reviewed in the points, but definitely Ajax Fitzgerald not getting his season off to the best of starts here for 2026. He was part-time last year for Lightstar Racing Co. in the Cup Series, and now racing full-time in the Xfinity Series, up to second as of right now, getting ready to challenge John Boyd for this race lead. Might possibly make the move going into the third corner, but you also have to be careful of Reagan Whitlock, and there goes Fitzgerald. Off of 2, down the backstretch into 3, makes the move. But can he make it stick coming off of turn 4? Looks like he will. And he'll lead it by a half a car length over Boyd. There goes Reagan Whitlock.
They're going to be shuffling all throughout.
There's Reagan Whitlock in the 54, already up to the third position. Now trying to get up to the second spot. There's Sebastian Kukulon up here. You saw Marcus Sachi in the 14 for Beacon Academy Racing, already moving up inside of the top 10. But heading back down into the third corner, Fitzgerald is going to be clear of all traffic momentarily. And caution is out. Yellow flag on the speedway. Fitzgerald's going to lead him back to the line. I don't see anything. I don't see that. Nobody, everybody's okay. So definitely has to be a debris caution. I don't see any skid marks. I don't see any drivers that might have made contact with the wall or. So
we are in Vegas.
So definitely it was a debris caution. Nonetheless, all these drivers, knowing that a pit stop was just a little ways ahead, possibly right around with 30 laps complete, they're going to waste no time and come on down to pit road. Fitzgerald's going to lead them down. And how about that, Russell? I mean, this is the first caution that we've seen in the Vegas, at least in the Vegas side of the WRLA action. The truck race this last Thursday was caution-free, but now here we are in the Xfinity race, at least 16 laps in, and we're already getting our first caution, and it's not for incident, but for debris.
It was kind of crazy that they did go caution-free in the trucks.
Oh, wait a minute. That's interesting. Marcus Sachi comes out of the pits. He wins the race off of pit road. Reagan Whitlock comes out second. Sebastian Kukulon third. Then in fourth will be Bobby McGuire. Justin Ingleham looks like he's going to come out fifth. And then Alexander Rowe will be sixth. Then in seventh will be Haley Kurris, Campbell Marsh eighth. Kasumi Takashi ninth. And our former race leader now, Ajax Fitzgerald, he gets relegated back to the 10th position. Actually, no, he got relegated outside of the top 10, so it looks like Igor Barreto will be rounding out your top 10 when we get ready to restart here in just a couple of laps. For those that are just now tuning in, we're working our first caution of the night here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Third race of the season, the Boyd Gaming 300. So these races are being ran a little bit later because a week later than what they were supposed to be ran because I had some personal issues or personal stuff pop up behind the scenes. There really weren't much of issues, but definitely had to tend to those. But here we are. Picking right back up where we left off, and the caution that we are currently working right now is a debris caution. No drivers have any damage whatsoever. There's no skid marks on the racetrack. There's no crashes, at least as of yet. So everybody right now still running on the racetrack. Everybody's on the lead lap, and we're still clean and green. It's still clean, but not green, but definitely for sure clean here at Vegas so far.
Choice of words.
There's the field. It's going to cycle back around through turn number 4. The look of the top 10 has definitely shaken up. Not terribly, but in a very, very interesting way, to say the least. One lap and we'll be back to green flag racing. Your top 10, just to review, as we're getting ready to restart with 20 laps complete next time by. It's Marcus Sacchi, who is the race leader in the number 14. Then in second is Reagan Whitlock. Running in third is the 25 of Sebastian Kukalong. Then in fourth is Bobby McGuire. Completing your top 5 is Justin Ingleham. Then in sixth is Alexander Rowe. Seventh is the 44 of Haley Kuras. Campbell Marsh in eighth. Then in ninth is Kasumi Takashi, and Igor Barreto rounds out your top 10 as we're getting ready to restart the Boyd Gaming 300 from here in Las Vegas. It is our third outing of the season. Running this race a week later, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be at the Auto Club Speedway for the Xfinity and the NOS Energy Cup Series. So that should be pretty interesting. Pretty interesting action over at Fontana, California. May no longer exist in real life, but forever exists in our hearts, and not just in our 2003, but iRacing as well. Here we go. Marcus Sacchi brings him to the green, and we're back underway. Looks like about 3 cars that definitely got a good jump on that restart. Sacchi was one of them. Reagan Whitlock and Sebastian Kukalong were the other 2. Bobby McGuire a little bit further back, but still looking to try to make something happen as this race goes on. Sebastian Kukalong now down to the inside of the 54 of Reagan Whitlock, and Whitlock now no longer on that bottom line. Now starting to lose a little bit of positions here, and they're going to start to get a little bit grouped up, double file once again, as Kukalong now goes to the point here in Vegas. Sacchi didn't fall too far back there in the number 14. Still right up there within touch of the top position. McGuire now up to third. Now Ingleham's getting ready to challenge down to the inside. He goes underneath of the 5 of McGuire. And how about this? 2 former teammates, Alexander Rowe and Campbell Marsh. Teammates last year, enemies on the racetrack this year. Obviously, Campbell Marsh driving for Walker Family Motorsports. We had Wyatt up in the booth just a couple of weeks ago. And Alexander Rowe in the number 2 driving for Richard Childress Racing. And there's Kasumi Takashi in the 39. Part of the NS Racing camp. Now moving up inside of the top 10 here. But so far, I mean, the racing that we're seeing is definitely pretty interesting, because Russell, what's interesting is that before the caution came out, everybody was double file, and then as we got a little bit later into the green flag stint, we saw some cars start to break out single file, And now that we've had a single file restart, they're not as packed as what they were. It's not double file all the way back. These drivers are a little bit more strung out than what we've seen since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, it's like we got some double file, and then we'll have a single file. It's almost like breaking it up. But I think turns 1 and 2, the bottom line is like the preferred line, which is actually starting to look like all the way around.
Goes Campbell Marsh in the 18, now down to the inside of Marcus Sachi. And you have a duo of 4. It's of Takashi and Kukalon. They're fighting it out double file. That's for third. Look at Sachi get that exit speed, that corner exit speed that's going to carry him all the way down the straightaway, but through the corners, it's Campbell Marsh that is currently the strongest, and he's going to lead that lap over Marcus Sachi. And how about this, Russell? Number 88, Ajax Fitzgerald, arguably has been so far, as we're nearing the halfway mark in just another, probably give it about 12, 13 laps here in right around that time. It's been pretty much one of the 2 strongest Death Rider racing cars that we've seen here tonight. The second one being the 7 of Steve Morgan, but Morgan's back over here along with Roberto Crown Jr. just outside of the top 10, currently shown in the 13th position. But so far, the 2 Death Rider racing cars that did not get their seasons off to a good start, they're actually up here inside of the top 10, and they are performing really well as Takashi leads lap 29 from here at Vegas.
I think I did good last year in the cup race here. If I remember right. I know I didn't get the win,
but so far though, I mean, who knows? You might wound up in victory lane tomorrow, but irregardless of that, so far 2 of your cars are running really, really well right now. Obviously, Fitzgerald's still sitting in the 3rd position, just got surpassed by Campbell Marsh a couple of laps ago, who's now gunning for this race lead in the 18 machine, heading back down into turn 1. Marsh is going to capture that top spot pretty easily. John Boyd is up here. And how about the 4 of Thomas Jericho? Now showing up inside of the top 5 for the first time tonight. We talked about Roberto Crown Jr. not too long ago. And here we go, 3 wide. That's Takashi that was up on the top, and they're still going 3 wide, and looks like they might get it settled back down to double file. And they did. Takashi kind of struggling to try to hang on to that car, but thankfully gonna get it settled back down to double file, and we stay green. John Boyd leads the charge as they come off of turn number 4. Jericho now up to 2nd. Side by side for 3rd. Again, we touched on Roberto Crown Jr., and he's going to slide up the racetrack. Man, how much you willing to bet that the track temps have gotten just a little bit warmer, so these drivers might be starting to slide around a little bit, especially through turns 1 and 2. So far, 3-car breakaway. Crown trying to make something happen down there on the inside, or at least trying to take a peek down low heading into 1. That just wasn't going to work whatsoever, but he's going to try again down the back straightaway, and there goes Crown underneath of the 4 of Thomas Jericho. And John Boyd definitely loves what he's seen in his rearview mirror. Look back here, 3 wide. That's McGuire in the middle, Sachi up top, and now Harun Kankoiloglu down on the bottom. And what's surprising to me is they're going to get out of that 3 wide situation. What's surprising to me is that now we've seen a couple of instances of 3 wide action coming off of turn number 4. nobody, and I mean nobody, has lost control of their cars. They managed to keep them straight, and we're still green.
I think it's possible that we can do 3 wide. It's just a possibility of 4 that I think would really push it.
Yeah, if you come down the front straightaway here, coming off of 4, you could technically try to pull off 4 wide, but 4 wide is just definitely not the preferred answer here at Vegas. Morgan tried to take a peek underneath of Crown. That just wasn't going to work. And there's Sam Robinson in the 10. Closing in on the halfway mark of this event, now up inside of the top 5, might be able to move up to 3rd as Morgan gets to the inside of Crown. That's for 2nd, and now Robinson moves up to 3rd, and Marsh might get bumped up to 4th as Crown now starts to fall back to the 5th position, and there's Josiah Munsell in the 48, waiting in the wings if Crown is not able to make something happen, or at least if Crown's not able to clear down under the bottom. And now here comes Sam Robinson in the 10 down to the inside for 2nd. Man, Boyd is absolutely loving what he sees in his rearview mirror, because every time there's some drivers that get close to him, there's always another one that's always won that 2nd position. And the more that they're side by side, the further that 41 is going to get from the rest of the leaders.
I definitely would love to be out front, seeing that. Everybody going like 2 or 3 wide, and it's like smooth sailing.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Once they get double file or single file, then I'd start worrying.
Absolutely, and speaking of, battle for the race lead is on. Sam Robinson tried to take a peek down low, but John Boyd definitely got the corner exit speed coming off of 2, so he was able to retain that race lead pretty easily. But I think Robinson might try it again. No, Campbell Marsh wants it, as he's going to gun for 2nd on Robinson, coming through turn 2 this time by.
Yeah, it's like what I was saying earlier. If you notice, everyone that goes down low always seems to get that spot, and everybody that goes up top seems to get strung back a little bit.
Well, absolutely, definitely. These drivers are definitely taking note of where the grip level is at, and a lot of it is down on the bottom side. But coming off of turn number 2, heading down the back straightaway, you could definitely get a good amount of corner exit speed. And Campbell Marsh definitely got some corner exit speed from the bottom side. He's got a lot of momentum. He's going to take it to the back bumper of the 41 of Boyd, heading back down into turn 1. He possibly might try to make the run happen down the back straightaway. But you also have the 4 of Thomas Jericho that could have a say in trying to maybe possibly pick up another position here on the 18 of Marsh, heading off of turn number 4. 3 cars, all single file, and then you have Sebastian Kukulong not too far back. These drivers are definitely racing as if we're at Daytona or Talladega, maybe even Atlanta, because that's what that's basically how this pack is behaving. And yeah, we did see a bit of 3 abreast back over here. McGuire was in the middle of 1 3 wide situation, but then he was on top of another one. They got that sorted out, and we are still green from here at Vegas. Right now, McGuire is still running in the 15th position. And then Sachi and Belair, 13th and 14th. Obviously, Belair in 14th, and then Sachi, or 13th rather, and then Sachi back in the 14th position. But so far, as of right now, your race leader is still John Boyd in the number 41 machine. Fight for 2nd is on. Marsh down to the inside of Thomas Jericho. Sam Robinson is up here, and his teammate Igor Barreto now moves up inside of the top 5 for the first time tonight. Yeah, these drivers I'm also starting to notice, as we're going to take a look here from this angle. Little bit more strung out until you get all the way back. I'd say about here. That's where Erica Douglas, our points leader, is at. So Douglas kind of in trouble. She's currently running in the 19th position. You have her teammate Dana Mon in the 27, trying to fight off Harun Khan Koiloglu for what looks to be the 20th position. So far, Koiloglu has it, but Dana Mon is going to want it coming off of turn number 4, trying to carry that momentum back to the start-finish line. So far, hasn't quite been able to get that spot, but coming back over here, you can definitely see a lot of these drivers are still pretty bunched up, but that's probably going to change as we get closer to what is our first round of green flag pit stops. Here it is. Sumner is in along with Ray Atikian, Ryan Kendall in the 45 of Reagan DeFeo. And some of these drivers definitely had to get on the brakes. Absolutely. They had to slam on them brakes. Trying to get from at least 175 mile an hour down to 45, and here we go. Race leaders are in. John Boyd gonna lead Marsh and Robinson and Morgan, and a lot of others. Look at Nick Martin in the 18, just narrowly making it in, and almost hitting several other cars in the process. But Martin's gonna be able to get in, and that pit stop should be legal because I don't think he hit the orange cone as he came off of turn 4. Barely missed it. I would agree with that. Thomas Jericho is now in. He's going to bring Kukulon and others with him. Bryce Egan in the 35 coming on in. In the 98 of Jordan Sumner. First one in, who was amongst the first in, and now she's the first one off the pits. So now the question is, what is our top 10 going to look like as we officially complete our first round of green flag pit stops from here at Vegas? Look at that. Look at the run that Sumner manages to get here. Coming through turn 4, she's gonna rock it around the 10 of Sam Robinson from the outside lane, and Ray Atikian in the 20, who had the best car just a couple of weeks ago at Minnesota, trailing right behind the 98 of Sumner. Yeah, this should definitely be very, very interesting to see what the top 10 is going to look like here. And officially, scoring is saying your top 10 is going to look like this, with coming up to 53 laps complete from here at here at Las Vegas. Not Minnesota, but Las Vegas. We didn't go, we're not up north, guys, as you can see. John Boyd right now is the race leader. Then in second is Campbell Marsh. Then in third is Thomas Jericho. Roberto Crown Jr. sitting in the 4th position. Steve Morgan rounds out your top 5. Then Sebastian Kukulon in the 6th position. And then in 7th is Ajax Fitzgerald. Running in 8th is the 98 of Jordan Sumner, who had herself a really good pit stop. Bobby Maguire running in 9th, and Sam Robinson in car number 10, currently position 10, with now 54 laps complete. There goes Campbell Marsh.
If it wasn't for that debris, we would be doing the same thing, just like the truck race. Been caution free, except
Absolutely.
for the debris.
Absolutely. Campbell Marsh here in this 18, working his way down to the inside. He's going to take over the top spot from John Boyd. Thomas Jericho right there. Now he's going to try to take advantage of Boyd being up there on the outside. Going to go right downstairs on the 41 of Boyd, and will move up into the top position. Now, another thing I do want to point out is that the distance between 3rd and 4th is but 1.2 seconds. So there is a very good chance that this pack, being led by Roberto Crown Jr., is going to pull right up to the front 3 in just a good handful of laps. Look at that. Gap went down by 0.2 seconds, so they are gaining on the leaders.
That group can go nose to tail, or they'd catch them in a lap and a half easy. If maybe even one whole lap.
Possibly might be the case here across the stripe. It's now 9/10 of a second between third and fourth. Sebastian Kukulon looking to try to take a peek down to the inside. Jordan Sumner in the 98. Third car there in this pack. Right now running in the 6th position. And all these drivers right now, they are all single file. And it looks like they are just at the very least catching up to these three. At least a 10th a lap is what I'm seeing here. A 10th a lap. "22 laps of racing to go from here at Vegas. Marsh still leads the way. Battle for fourth is on. As here comes Sebastian Kukulon down to the inside of Roberto Crown Jr. The gap is now 6/10 between third and fourth, and now down to the inside goes John Boyd for the second position. He wants this race lead back. Oh, but don't look now. That gap, again, that gap between third and fourth is getting ever so smaller. The gap is now 4/10. They have basically, essentially caught this lead group of three, closing in on 20 laps to go from here in Las Vegas. So far, Campbell Marsh still leading the charge. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Crown and that second pack have essentially caught the front three. It has gone from a 3-horse race to, it looks like, all the way back to about 13th. That's how many cars are definitely going to be in contention to win this thing if they get grouped back up. 19 to go from here at Vegas. Boyd leads it at the stripe. No, you got Bobby McGuire there in the 5, now moving up into the 4th position. Oh boy, what a story it would be if he were to win this race. That could definitely be a huge momentum booster going into tomorrow night's NOS Energy Cup race from here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which you can catch that live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Twitch. The starting lineup will be set via the points that were accumulated over the course of the last 2 races. So that could still help McGuire as he's top 10 in the point standings, and he'll definitely start top 10 regardless. 17 to go from here at Vegas. Crown looking to the inside, heading back through turn 1. Another driver that's trying to look for a huge momentum booster going into tomorrow night's Cup race. Along with Bobby McGuire, Jordan Sumner in the 98. Still looking to try to get her first career win in the Xfinity Series. She got a top 10 at least a couple weeks ago at Minnesota. Now moves up inside of the top 5, trailing the 25 of Kukulon as the 71 of Crown takes the race lead. But Kukulon might have something up his sleeve here. They head back down into 3. But Crown still manages to stay out ahead of the 25 of Kukulon. Heading back down to turn number 1. Robinson trying to make it 3 wide underneath of the 98 and the 41. That's all letting the 71 and the 25 pull away by just a little bit. Sumner trying to get free from the clutches of John Boyd. She's going to be able to do so coming off of turn number 4. And how about that? At least 10 cars that are all double file here behind the front 3 as we're closing in on the 10 to go mark from here at Vegas. Oh, Boyd getting a really good run coming off of turn number 4 on the 10 of Sam Robinson. Meanwhile, up front, challenge for the lead is on, and here comes Sebastian Cucalon to the inside of Roberto Crown Jr. Oh, but Crown getting a really good run on the outside. 3 wide here. Looks like for the 3rd position. Robinson in the middle. Sumner up top. Now Takashi down on the bottom. And I think Cucalon, I think he wants to try to make that outside line work. So far he is. That bottom line is kind of checking up a little bit. They're not getting the same runs that they were earlier on in the race, but closing in on 11 to go. Sebastian Cucalon now right back up to where he was originally on the back bumper of the 71 of Roberto Crown Jr. as they head back into 1. John Boyd, who arguably I would have to say led the most laps here today. I would definitely believe it. But if not, that would definitely be very, very shocking. He's back up here into the 3rd position. They're going to try to keep the momentum going from Minnesota just 2 weeks ago. 10 laps of racing to go from here at Vegas. And there goes Boyd down to the inside. Takashi is going to go with the 41. And now he wants that 2nd position. Kasumi Takashi getting to the inside of Boyd. Steve Morgan in the 7 is going to follow. Trying to bring Death Rider Racing back-to-back wins is the 7 of Steve Morgan. And not too far back is the 88 of Fitzgerald. Running in the 8th position as of right now. At least that's where he's being scored. Boyd up front could potentially make something happen here going into 1. Took a peek down low. Didn't have a good enough run. He might try to make something happen down the back straightaway. What if Takashi has anything to say? He will. Heading down the back stretch into turn 3. It's going to gun to the inside of John Boyd. Sam Robinson in the 10 will follow. Morgan waiting in the wings in case if anything happens to the front 4 with 7 laps to go from here in Vegas.
Big giant gap between the front pack and everybody else.
Absolutely. The front 2 have checked out from Sam Robinson. That was just under 0.2 of a second behind. But we're closing in on the 5 to go mark from here at Vegas. Kasumi Takashi looking to bring NS Racing their first Xfinity Series win. They have several Cup wins to their name. Now trying to add an Xfinity win to that resume as well. There goes the 39 of Kasumi Takashi to the inside of Crown. Crown trying to hang on around the outside so far, getting the good run down the back straightaway. That corner exit speed proving to be beneficial for the 71. Coming up to 4 to go. Takashi right back on the attack. Down on the inside. Going to get that race lead away from Crown across the stripe, heading into turn number 1.
The question is, just like Minnesota, do you think we're going to have a last lap pass for the win?
I think that's very, very well possible here. With as much double file as we're seeing here between Takashi and Crown, there's always a chance that at least one of them could break out with this race lead, which is exactly what's happening here with Takashi. And that's going to open up the door for Steve Morgan to make something happen, but he had to check up hard going through turns 1 and 2. He's going to lose that 2nd position to Crown, and he's going to start dropping like a rock, coming to 2 laps of racing to go from here at Vegas. Crown trying to work his way around the outside of the 39. So far, that's not really proven it to be any sort of benefactor whatsoever for the 71. But Takashi holding his own right now. 5-6 cars, single file, heading through turns 3 and 4. They'll be faced with the white flag. Kasumi Takashi for NS Racing is leading the charge. Will he be leading? Coming back to the checkers. 1 to go from here at Vegas. Oh, he's starting to pull away just a little bit from Crown. And I think that might be all he needs. Down the backstretch one more time. Heading through turns 3 and 4. The deal is sealed. Kasumi Takashi for NS Racing comes off of turn number 4. He's going to win the Boyd Gaming 300 from here at Vegas. How about that? For Kasumi Takashi, bringing NS Racing their first WRLA Xfinity Series win here at Las Vegas. Coming home in second is Roberto Crown Jr. Finishing in third is Steve Morgan. Definitely something really good going his way here this weekend. Then in fourth is John Boyd. Sebastian Kukulon rounds out your top 5. Then in sixth is Sam Robinson. Seventh is the 4 of Thomas Jericho. Then in eighth is Josiah Munsell. Bobby McGuire is ninth, and then completing your top 10 for the second race in a row. That is Jordan Sumner rounding out your top 10. Ajax Fitzgerald unfortunately missed out on the top 10, but still great run regardless. Going to be able to pick up some really good points that could help Fitzgerald going into Auto Club. But as you can see here, Russell, nobody went out of the race. Nobody was a lap down. Everybody started the race and took the checkered flag. So kind of similar to what we saw at Minnesota just a couple of weeks ago. We had ourselves another clean race here for Las Vegas.
Except for the debris. If the debris never came onto the track, it would have been caution-free throughout the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Now, will us in the Cup, go caution-free? Probably not.
Well, there's always a possibility that we could see more than just one caution. And would it be for debris? Who knows? You'll just have to find out tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live right here on Twitch for race number 3 of the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series, the Pennzoil 400, 134 laps of excitement here at this 1.5-mile facility. One more time, Russell Blaze, I do want to thank you so much for coming on in and being in here in the booth, and I want to wish you the best of luck here for tomorrow night's Cup race.
I appreciate it.
And as for everyone else here that is watching live on Twitch, if you're brand new, be sure to hit that follow button so you don't miss future WRLA races and as well as other content that gets streamed live here on this channel. And if you're watching from the WRLA YouTube channel, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. Coming up next will be your points in the Discord. Be sure to keep an eye on the Discord for the points. I know I didn't put the points in for a couple weeks ago, but we'll definitely get those points updated and sent out. Well, have a great rest of your night, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you all tomorrow night for Race 3 of the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series.